Welcome back. The South African Human Rights Commission has promised to conduct equality workshops at Crawford International College in Pretoria. That's after a white substitute teacher at the school was fired last month for writing racist terms on a board during a lesson. Human Rights Commission Gauteng manager Zamantungwa Mbeki joins us now for more. Zama, very good evening to you. Grateful for your time. A good place to begin, I think, is with what account you were given by the school for what happened there last month.
Thank you for having us, Mbeki. So the commission met with Crawford College on Friday. What we were advised is that everything that happened, that we saw happened during an English lesson. However, what we were not able to find out is exactly the context under which the teacher was writing those racist terms on the whiteboard. And we were then advised that some of the learners were not as yet comfortable with disclosing some of these, the perspective, the context to the school. And therefore, they've undergone a session with the counselor where through the counselor, they're advising the school exactly what happened.
And one of the reports that immediately came out was that what the substitute teacher had said, basically, for those who didn't see it, two words which I saw in the video, the N-word, with a large history, of course, in the United States there, and the racist history there, the K-word, which is very contentious, in fact controversial and hurtful in a South African context when you consider our history with apartheid and racism. And in fact it was said by some of the parents who were calling into radio stations that what this woman said was that the children in that class should not be hurt by the use of the likes of the K-word because they were not around during apartheid. So why is the school not able to immediately confirm such a version, given that we've already had parents or children from there speak openly about it?
Definitely, Mbeki. As the SAHRC, we need to get the official version from the school, and that is what we put to them, that based on what has been said on social media, based on what we've all heard publicly, this is what we have been informed as the context under which this happened. Because we said if this has happened maybe they were teaching history, maybe they were teaching the history of racism in South Africa, then it would have a particular context. And we needed the school to come to us and tell us exactly whether this maybe formed part of the curriculum or what exactly the context was. The school advised us that because this matter is under investigation with the South African Council of Educators, that they would then be assisting the South African Council of Educators and giving this version to them. But they were unwilling at the time, and maybe because of different legal issues, to give this version to the commission, to confirm exactly to the commission that is exactly the context. However, like what you've just said now, that is the version that we've also heard, and that is through the social media and what has been said on radio and television as well.
How then do your equality workshops even begin or become effective when at this stage there's still so much that we're told is under investigation?
So what we've done is, Mbeki, is that we've separated these two matters. As you know, that an investigation, the mandate of the commission is threefold. We've got our protection mandate, under which the investigation of this incident is currently taking place. However, we said that while the investigation is still happening, we wanted to undergo these equality workshops. We also wanted to look at the policies of the school, because the school advised us that there was a diversity program that was already in place. So what we said is that while this investigation is going on with the South African Council of Educators, we would not just sit back and wait and not do anything while that investigation was pending, but we would undergo through our advocacy program these interventions with the school. But it's very important, Mbeki, that we realize that with the investigation, it doesn't stop us from still pursuing what we usually do, meaning going to the equality courts and also going to the South African Police Services to report the incident. So we just have to separate those two matters.
So if you did go that route, would it be in pursuing action against this now basically sacked temporary teacher, or would you seek action, in fact, against the school?
We would seek, at this stage, we would seek the action against the teacher, because the incident, as we said she's the one who wrote the racist words on the board. She's the one who uttered those, and she uttered those outside of the context of the curriculum. However, it's important to note that it doesn't fully exempt the school, and that's important. That's the importance of the investigation. Is you need to determine to which extent do you put this, or do you draw liability for the school, but also to which extent do you hold the teacher liable. And it's very clear from what we saw that it's clear cut. We know the teacher has said it, or in this context wrote it, and we can pursue that directly with the teacher. However, it is the investigation that will draw to which extent can you hold the school or the schooling community, its policies, liable, or how does it create an environment that makes it conducive for such an incident to happen.
The use of racist language in any context has the potential to poison the air, more so in schools, as we've seen in South Africa's democratic dispensation, right? I wonder at this stage if you have been able as a commission to establish whether Crawford had existing issues around race, racialism, and perhaps racism before what happened.
At this moment, we don't have any of the any complaints from members of the schooling community. But as we said, that as part of the investigation, it does become very important to us that we reach out, or through the South African Council of Educators, we reach out to the children. But it's very important that when we note this, that we also need to protect the mental health of the children. We need to make sure that they are also they are treated with dignity and with respect. And that's why we said that because the South African Council of Educators has already started, we would not then duplicate the efforts and come and interview the children again, triggering them. So we said that once the South African Council of Educators has concluded its process, then we would then come in. But the incidents of racism, not only at Crawford, have been happening in a number of schools throughout Gauteng and throughout the country. If you remember, there was that protest with Cornwall Hill of a year or two ago. And then in that instance as well, the commission intervened, and we conducted a thorough investigation at the time. And at that point is where we got these allegations, and in that context, from the schooling community, from the parents, who said that the schooling environment in that context was actually the one that was creating such an environment.
It suggests, though, Zama, that there's in fact a need for a bigger intervention when it comes to dealing with racism within the South African school system, because as far as I've noted, we deal with these on a case-by-case basis, good and well, but it doesn't address the major issue of the fact that often what happens in schools is a reflection of realities beyond the school gate.
That's the point I was going to raise now, Mbeki, that the school is just a microcosm of this. This schooling environment is actually a reflection of what people are thinking and saying in their interpersonal spaces, where videos or where people cannot be recorded on WhatsApp. And it becomes very important, and we keep saying that when we are having discussion in closed spaces where, as I said, where somebody cannot record you, what are the words that we are saying? What are our thoughts and what are our reflections really about not just racism, but inequality overall in South Africa? I just want to draw an example. As a commission, we received a complaint about homophobia in schools, children who are committing suicide as a result of being bullied because of their sexual status. So all of these things are just a reflection of what is going on in society as a whole, and then the school becomes just a microcosm of that. And it's important that
Zamantungwa Mbeki, thank you so much for your time tonight with the Human Rights Commission in Gauteng. She's manager there.